From the outside looking in, the NFL is a wild place. Just look at the situation involving Antonio Brown. His hope of a trade from the Steelers has been the dominating storyline, but no one outside of the locker room really knows the reason for his latest decisions. Sure, it's easy to say that there is jealousy of Juju Smith-Schuster or dysfunction with Ben Roethlisberger, but nobody knows for certain. Shows like Amazon's All or Nothing and HBO's Hard Knocks try to capture these intimate details of NFL franchises, but even they are unable to tell the whole story, such as the case of Jon Gruden and the Oakland Raiders. Fullback Keith Smith was a guest on a podcast called Drinkin' Bros Sports Companion Show during the weekend leading up to Super Bowl 53. During the conversation on this very adult-oriented show, Smith talked about many different topics, including his wife working for the Department of Defense, the Raiders' disappointing season, and of course, Jon Gruden. First off, however, Smith explained his journey to the league from Little San Jose State and how he had to transition from a full-time linebacker in college to fullback in the NFL. "My journey in the league is crazy, man. I've been cut, released, activated from the practice squad, to the active roster, somewhere, I've lost count, about 20 times. Legit. My first year was with the Raiders last year, and I was with Dallas my first 4 years. But my first 2 years, I came into the league. My whole career, I played linebacker, so always overlooked. I was undersized, I was slow, I didn't get a combine invite. I led the nation in tackles my senior year and didn't get no type of all-star game invite. I actually did play in, it was actually the first year the Medal of Honor Bowl had there. It's a smaller all-star game, somewhere in South Carolina, south of the Citadel. So, I played in that, and that was kind of the only love I got coming out." Despite the lack of attention from his days in college, Smith still found his way to the league as an undrafted free agent in 2014. He appeared in 47 games during his first 4 seasons, including all 32 of his final 2 seasons. He may not have piled up the stats, only tallying 3 rushing attempts in 5 years, but he has been a solid contributor in the rushing attack. For example, both the Raiders and the Cowboys had some of the league's better rushing attacks, and he was a reason for this production. Smith helped knock defenders out of the way for Ezekiel Elliott, Doug Martin, and Marshawn Lynch. He also explained how serving as a linebacker gave him an advantage in his newfound fullback role because he could recognize schemes and use this knowledge to search out defenders. Following his productive seasons with the Cowboys, Smith headed to the Raiders on a 2-year, $3 million contract. While Oakland was coming off a losing season, Smith still viewed this as an opportunity to help the Raiders reach the playoffs and win a championship. He was also very excited to meet superstar players like Amari Cooper, Khalil Mack, Marshawn Lynch, and Derek Carr. Although this didn't exactly play out as expected, this was my first year with the Raiders. I come to the Raiders, and I'm like, we nice, all the talent we got. Khalil Mack, I've heard so much about him. I'm like, dang, I can't wait to meet this dude. I'm a fan. I'm going to be battling this dude in training camp. I'm ready to meet. I ain't met this dude, to this day. He held out. I heard he's a great dude. Would hear all this stuff from my teammates, Khalil this and Khalil that, just how much of a good teammate he was. While the moves did look very horrible from the outside, Smith believes that they were very important to get done. He just wishes that they had happened before the season started. Interestingly enough, he did believe that losing Amari Cooper to the Dallas Cowboys was the most important thing for both parties. Don't misunderstand, he loved playing with Cooper and views him as a gem and a once-in-a-generation player, but Smith also recognized that the dynamic receiver needed a change of scenery to serve as a reset in his career. It was just a real *T show, just because it was a lot of pieces moving while we were in the midst of a season. From that aspect, it sucked, but at the same time, you gotta understand who Jon Gruden is. Gruden is old school. He sees his vision, and if you are not part of his vision and what he feels like is going to bring him to the ultimate goal of a Super Bowl, then he's gotta make moves. I don't even think that it was necessarily that they didn't fit the vision. A lot of the stuff came into play, like money, as far as Khalil Mack. We didn't have money to really pay him like that. From Gruden's perspective, I think that he wanted to win, but at the same time, he wanted to make moves to put us in the best position to 1. Meet his vision, and 2. Win games and get to the Super Bowl. There's a lot of factors that go into it, and I think that's what we as players on the Raiders kinda just accepted. At one point, we were like, what the F*** CK? You're giving all the best players away, so what the F*** CK do we do? It was what it was. We couldn't afford to pay Khalil Mack. It's a business. I think it was the best move for Amari. He just needed a change of scenery. He went to Dallas and was exactly what everybody thought he could be. Us, as teammates, we were sick. This dude is a gem. He's a generational player that you don't really give up. As Smith explained, it was a heart-wrenching process to lose the players, but the locker room understood that they couldn't change anything, and they couldn't get any worse. It was simply time to forge ahead and plan for the future. Winning the Super Bowl is the ultimate goal, and he believes that the moves were ultimately in an effort to build a winning roster. He even compared the process to the Raiders and Buccaneers Super Bowl from January 26, 2003, in which Gruden's Buccaneers defeated the Raiders to win the Lombardi Trophy. Both teams were in the big game because Gruden built those rosters into contenders. All of the players on the losing Raiders squad were brought to town by Gruden. He just wasn't there coaching the team. As far as Gruden the coach goes, Smith is a big fan. He knows that the media pieces show the brash side of the Raiders head coach, but 90% of the screaming and abrasive comments are actually sarcastic. Apparently, Gruden has an old-school sense of humor that appeals to the players. They love his vulgar joking around and the way he approaches correcting mistakes during practices. As Smith said, Gruden is a nut. While struggling through a 4-12 season was not the greatest way to spend his first season in the silver and black, Smith is extremely excited for the future. He loves playing for Gruden, he is a huge fan of Raider Nation, and he knows that the future holds a move to Las Vegas, provided he is still on the team. Smith has 10 sisters, many of whom live in Sin City, and he is anticipating the opportunity to spend more time with them. First off, he has to ball out and keep on Gruden's good side.